Hello, it's my channel. Yes, James going good. And today we're going to be reading Jeff the Killer. But I just wanted to show you guys something. So I made a video on drawing this for Jeff. I made a video, but look what it did. I can't use these pages. I wasn't going to recreate something, but this one, it's like, it has that so I can still use it. Oh my god. Okay. I was swimming earlier and it was freezing, ice freezing, so okay. So, Jeff the Killer 2015. The day Jeffrey Woods and his family arrived at their new home, the sky was overcast and the weather was muggy. The gray sky seemed to punctuate his mood. Jeff was not thrilled to be here. Their new home was beautiful, though, a true example of his father's newfound success, but still it wasn't the home he knew. A week later they settled in. Jeff and Lou woke up early. The sky was a crisp and gorgeous blue, and although the Louisiana heat was playing its usual cruel tricks, the brothers decided that a morning bike ride to explore the area would be the right ticket to combat the slight pangs of homesickness that they've been both experiencing for over the last week. "I miss home," Lou blurted out, as Jeff was smearing salsa on the microwave burrito that would serve at his breakfast. "Me too, Lou. But I guess this is our home now, so we just have to sort out of what we have to make most of it." "I know, but all of our friends and our stuff back in New Orleans. Remember that building we'd sneak up on top of and watch the city lights come on? I miss that," Lou responded, sounding down. "Yeah, in the ZM video, the owner knew us and would always let us rent rated movies without our parents. And he always hooked up us with a free video game rental if we got a few movies. Yeah, I miss that too. But, Lou, we have to." Lou interrupted. "I know we have to make the most out of this, but still, this place seems so fake. And Mom and Dad treat us like we aren't even here." "Yep, they do. I was sort of hoping the new house would improve their mood, but what can we do?" Lou had no answer. Jeff finished his breakfast and the two boys left the house to mount their bikes and explore around a bit more. As it turned out, the subdivision they moved into was rather close to a cluster of stores in a small shopping center. Village Shopping Center was the name of sort row of business. Within these were a Pizza Hut, a Chinese restaurant, a tobacco store, a Sprint store, and what Jeff and Lou were most excited about, a video store. We'll have to get Mom and Dad to come down and open up an account so we can rent movies," Lou mentioned as Jeff flipped the box over to read description of a horror movie. "Shit, you're right," Jeff snapped, feeling a bit frustration at his thought. He knew getting his parents to actually come down here and set up a membership would take forever, since their usual after-work routine was to go off and separate rooms until they got hungry enough to come out and speak. Jeff glanced over at the girl working behind the counter. Maybe I could go over there and sweet talk her into giving us accounts, he joked. Yeah, right, Jeff. One look at you and she'll probably ban us, Lou remarked back, a smile on his brown face. You doubt me, little man? Doubt you? The guy who's kissed 2 girls and almost touched a boob? Never. Please go on over and lay on all the charm. Whatever. I totally have to bang that girl. But her parents came home and last time you told me that story, you said her parents were out of town and her sister came home. Jeff became flustered while in the progress of trying to make yet another comeback. The girl behind the register removed all doubt by speaking to the boys herself. Hey, aren't those bikes? The young woman asked, pointing towards the glass window. Jeff and Lou looked over and saw 3 boys outside, 2 of which were riding around in circles on the Woods brothers' bike. They would spin them round and then jump off, letting the bikes crash onto the pavement, just to stand them up and ride them again. 2 boys riding the bikes were both slim in build, while a heavier boy stood on the sidewalk, drinking a Red Bull and watching. Jeff and his brother made his way towards the doors of the video store. When the fat kid saw them coming, Jeff couldn't hear what he said to his friends, but he made out some sort of gesture while shouting, and the other boys dumped the bikes where they lay and walked towards the sidewalk, directly towards the 2 brothers. Those your bikes? One of the boys asked. Jeff and Lou entered the summer heat. Yeah, why are you riding them? Lou asked sharply. We just saw them there, man. Relax. Figure someone would just left them out there for us. The same boy responded as 2 of his friends joined him on either side. Jeff, determined to make a good start here, tried to change the course of his confirmation. Well, they're ours. We just moved here about a week ago. We live over on Fairmount Avenue, a few blocks down from here. We're just checking out the neighborhood. Jeff hoped that a civil tone could turn things around, but he could tell by the insolent look on the kid's face that this was a difficult gamble. Good for you, you moved somewhere, the fat kid remarked. Oh yeah, Troy, the first boy spoke. They moved into that piece of shit house with the gravel driveway. I was wondering who would move into that place. Well, Randy, we know now, the big kid, apparently named Troy, replied. Jeff, still trying to salvage the conversation, tried peaceful banter one more time. Okay, so you're Troy and you're Randy. Well, I'm Jeff and this is my little brother, Lou. We just moved here from New Orleans. You ain't in New Orleans now, the third boy, who just now decided to speak, remarked. Yeah, and who the fuck said you could call us by our names? Randy asked, the insolent, privileged smile never leaving his face. Jeff smiled and responded to Aunt Randy. I guess could have called you fucking asshole, but I figured I would give you the benefit of the doubt. In that moment, a flare of rage replaced the smirk that had gone resonant on Randy's face. Throughout the entire exchange, the other two boys, Troy and the still unknown third member of the band, seemed to momentarily struck silent. Perhaps they weren't used to being stood up. "Oh, I'm sorry, was that language too adult for you?" Jeff asked. "And you, quiet boy. We know this isn't New Orleans," Jeff stated to the slim kid that had reminded him of geographical locations. "Because if this was New Orleans, you three would have already gotten your asses kicked for touching someone else's shit." The slim kid looked back and forth at his two friends. However, Randy, clearly the leader, seemed to know what to say. "Keith, you gonna let this little bitch talk to you like that?" Jeff knew this part. And while he wanted quite badly to sock Randy and his pals around, a real concern suddenly invaded his mind. If he and Lou got into a fight their first week in this new neighborhood, their parents would freak. He could practically hear it now. And while things had been far from perfect in their home, even after the move, there was a peace that had fallen over the family, and Jeff, fighting his urges, decided to do his best to keep it up. Jeff looked over the three very well-dressed, very privileged-looking suburban kids before them and dismissed them. "You guys are boring. Come on, Lou. Let them continue their play dates without us." Lou laughed at that and followed behind his brother toward the bikes. However, Randy and his little gang of would-be toughs would have none of that. They moved to block Jeff and his brother once again. "Where are you going, pussy?" Randy asked, shoving Jeff. Jeff could tell that shove had no real conviction. Randy was trying to figure him out, seeing where his buttons were. He pushed harder eventually, but Jeff swallowed the slowly building anger within him once more. Lou looked a bit more exception to the shove. "We're going to your mom's house. Me and my brother saved up a couple dollars from doing chores, and we hear she doesn't charge much." As the words left his mouth, Randy appeared to only register a small portion of it. Randy Hayden had grown up in Maydayville. His father and his partner at a local firm that made a lot of money. Something else that Jeff would soon come to learn. Randy and his friends, while at the same age as Jeff, had grown up in a very different circumstances. They were used to be listened to. They used to be being feared. In fact, Randy, the target of the insult, just stood there. It was actually Troy, the fat kid, who stepped forward. Fistballed. I squinted in anger. "Who are you talking to?" Troy shouted, and took a wild swing at Lou. Lou, who was both in better shape and had sparred with Jeff a time or two during time spent boxing, was able to avoid the punch, but just barely. Had that been all, it may have once ended there. Troy was clearly taken by surprise at Lou's speed, and actually they didn't attempt another punch. However, these were bullies, kids that ran in a pack for a reason. Skinny one, Keith, stepped around and threw a punch that connected with the left side of Louis' face. Jeff had seen enough. He'd been shocked at how quickly this evolved into blows, even when he expected it from almost the start. When he first met Randy and his friends, he'd been curious. From there, he developed an annoyance with them. And slowly, that annoyance had enveloped into anger. However, upon seeing Lou punched, seeing the small tricks of blood form on his brother's lower lip, upon the smug look of satisfaction on Keith's face, that anger that Jeff felt suddenly exploded into rage that he's never felt in his life before. Jeff Woods did not hesitate. He stepped forward, his feet automatically falling into the correct stance that he'd learned from boxing classes his father once enrolled him into, and delivered a powerful right hand into Keith's face. The skinny boy had no time to register shock or pain. The punch caught him by surprise. His knees buckled. Keith went down to the ground in a heap of confusion and dawning fear. Randy, the so-called leader here, was almost too shocked to move. He had quite a lot of experience starting fights, but no real time logged in losing them. He never felt control of slip. He was used to being in charge, so now seeing one of his friends go down so quickly and easily left him in a state of shock that he had no idea how to address. Troy, on the other hand, seemed to have a plan. Throw another punch. He moved towards Jeff, perceptibly faster than his weight would allow him. He threw two equally fast punches. Jeff, however, had no problem sidestepping both attempts. Troy, seeming lost for actions, actually dropped his arms as if he would say, "Gee, what do I do now?" Jeff had the answer. He moved in, throwing 3 hooks at Troy's stomach. The hefty kid's eyes went as wide as 2 pie pans. A fitting analogy, Jeff thought. He staggered back, clutching and throbbing his stomach. Jeff wasted no time and stepped in once more, fetching a sharp punch to the big kid's jaw, causing Troy to promptly fall on his ass. Jeff was reminded of King Hippo from the Punch-Out game he used to play. He couldn't help but smile. Jeff now turned his focus on Randy. He advanced on the boy, feeling something new forming inside of him. He still felt the anger, the rage actually, at the antics of these 3 assholes. They had the nerve to mess with their bikes, the nerve to insult 2 kids they never met before, and of course, the ultimate offense, touching his brother. However, mixed in rage was also sweat, enjoyable pleasure, not only kicking their asses, but he was loving every second of it. It was as though the joy of showing them up was perfectly blending with rage he felt towards them. Together, it formed a sadistic, controlled sense of power. That was until Lou stepped in front of him. "Jeff, stop. That's enough." "Why stop now, Lou? They wanted this." Jeff replied in a flat voice that Lou had never come from his brother's mouth. "She's calling the cops. Look," Lou shouted again. And this time, Jeff came back to reality long enough to listen. He glanced over at the store clerk and saw her phone, talking frantically towards the parking lot. Suddenly, Jeff's strange, sadistic haze collapsed, and he regained his former self. "Fuck, let's go," he stated quickly. And he and Lou mounted their bikes and rode towards the parking lot exit. A few blocks down from the street, dismounted their bikes and began to walk again. Together. At first, neither brother spoke. Then Lou broke the silence. "Jeff, thank you for standing up for me back there. Thank you." "Yeah, those guys were pieces of shit. They had it coming," Jeff replied, looking down at the street as they walked. What happened? Never seen you like that before." "Just defending myself, Lou." "What was I supposed to do? Let them beat you up?" "I bet they go to our school. I bet we'll never see them there. They won't forget this." "Who cares? We didn't ask them to move here. We didn't ask for any of this. Mom and Dad just wanted a bigger house in a nicer neighborhood, and we along for the ride, whether we liked it or not. Think I give a shit what these rich assholes kids think of us?" Jeff stared and went back to looking at his feet. "Think we'll get in trouble for defending ourselves?" "Yeah, I guess they did. Yeah, I guess you're right. They did start it," Lou answered. And to the brothers, the matter was closed. However, things were far from over. They found that the trouble they believed, they arrived to their driveway. 2 cop cars, both parked in front of their house. Both of them felt their stomachs drop, as they knew why the police were here. The brothers entered the living room to see their parents sitting on the couch, the 2 top cops standing up, leaning against the wall, writing in their notebooks. "What did you 2 do?" Sheila practically screeched at the 2 boys entered the house. Lou, younger and less centered than Jeff, began to fall on the defense. "Some kids tried to jump us down by that video store. They were messing with our bikes, and we went outside and they got in our faces." "That's not what we heard," Matt Woods interjected, his voice firm and ripe with anger and disaffection. "No, Dad, that's what happened," Jeff began to explain. "We were down at a friendly video, looking around the store, when these 3 kids started riding around our bikes. All we did was walk outside, and the kids started talking trash to us, trying to provoke a fight. We tried to leave. One of them punched Lou. Finally, one of the 2 cops spoke. His name tag read Williamson. "Boys, we have some serious complaints about the 2 of you. From what the eyewitness at the shopping center says, you 2 started the confrontation with Randy and his friends. Jeff took notice at how similar the cop's tone was when he said Randy's name. This was a small town after all, and there was a good chance that this cop coached Randy into Little League or drank beers with his dad. Hell, it was even possible that this cop could be an uncle to one of the bullies. "No, sir," Jeff replied. "We didn't start it. They did. We just wanted our bikes. We just wanted to leave. They blocked us." Williamson continued. As though he'd heard nothing, Jeff said, "Several witnesses, including the video store clerk, say that you swung first. They say that the boys were just riding your bikes. But let me ask you this. Did they chain your bikes to anything, or did you just leave them outside of the store?" "What's the matter?" Lou demanded. "Well, son, if you just left your bikes lying around on the street, you can't exactly blame Randy and his friends for riding them, now can you? It'd be difficult had you secured them somehow, but you just left them there." "Mom, Dad, you're not buying this crap, are you? You know me and Lou don't start fights. When have we ever? These three punks messed with us. And if you can't tell that these cops are taking their sides, then you need to open your eyes." Jeff knew he was skating on the thin ice, but that was rage. It demanded some sort of satisfaction. This is getting long, and it's gonna be maybe a couple, it's gonna be long. So, I'm gonna end the episode here. I'm gonna continue it. I really want this to save because I don't like things I don't save. No, it does. No.